There's a lot of places that you used to like that you don't like anymore. And this is very common. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of places you can list off the top of your head that you just don't go to anymore, that you don't enjoy, you don't care about. It's it's common, right? I guess people grow up, things change. I mean, for me, it was really a matter for a lot of places I found was it was never the same. I would go back to somewhere that I used to like 10 years later, I could go to somewhere like an old stomping grounds that I used to go to many years ago and see such a difference that it's hard to wanna be there because it's completely different. The old neighborhoods I used to hang out in, old cities, there used to be places that I could always remember how to get to just because of a photographic memory. Now they change so much, new roads, new everything. You don't realize sometimes when it comes to getting older or times changing that even though nothing really seems to have changed throughout all these years, sometimes 20 or 30 years goes by relatively quickly and you don't know. So it's kind of weird when your parents used to tell you stuff and you didn't really kind of listen or understand. But yeah, now it makes sense. Wow. So, you know, one example, and this goes to some recent news. So I remember a time where I used to love Starbucks. Now, this goes back to a time really way, way, way back different than this current time. I mean, we're talking, geez, when would this be? Like, we're talking like yeah, I mean, in the year 2000 ish, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around there. Um, so one instance, I think, 2004-ish, I think I used to spend a lot of time, my green tea frappuccinos and, spending a lot of time by the lake and just chilling out or being downtown. Used to just Starbucks, right? And for me, the thing was that they had a lot of dark roast. At the time, it wasn't, it was coffee shops were big, coffee was big. So it was more than just like a brand for coffee places. It was you like dark roast, Arabia beans, Colombian beans, AAA roast, blah 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 blah. So you know, like I remember a time where I used to go into coffee shops and have a choice of 10 different types of coffee, 10 different not different flavors that you added syrups and sugar to, but I mean actually beans from different parts of the world. And so you used to pay different prices for different beans from various parts of the world. And that was really why you went to a coffee shop, why you were going to these places. From the last time I was at Starbucks, it seems like now you're going, they have drink mixes and obviously sugared coffee beverages. And so they've gotten away from what it seems like coffee to kind of sell us all these very, very expensive mixed non-alcoholic drinks, right? Like, you're mixing a powder with water and ice and a syrup and some, you know, I don't know, whipped cream sometimes or boba or whatever, right? So, I mean, it's kind of, you've lost that thing that makes you special in the world of coffee. You've just become like a pusher of garbage again. But we've talked about this. Now, what has happened recently that's, I guess two big things for Starbucks. And let's not talk about Israel and Palestine, all the stuff like that, but two major things for Starbucks in recent years has been years ago. And so it's funny because you see how things go. There was a policy that Starbucks had, I think it was 2018. So they had this policy in 2018. And so you can see how things go in the world of woke, right? I think 2018 was like a, key woke period of time, right? And so what happened back in 2018 was that um I think there were two black guys in a Starbucks, and they weren't buying anything. They were just hanging out, and they called the police, and the police arrested these two guys. Um, I think one guy went in there. Basically, uh, one guy wanted to use the washroom. He didn't buy anything, and so he was denied the bathroom access or whatever. Right now, apparently, they were waiting for another guy. So it was two guys waiting to have a meeting with somebody. While they were waiting for a third guy to come, they wanted to go, one guy wanted to go washroom. He was denied. I guess they got in an argument. The cops were called. And it just turns out that, there were two guys that were going to buy stuff, meeting a third guy for a meeting, which usually happens. And they get an argument because the guy didn't buy anything yet and they didn't let him in the washroom, blah, 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 blah. Got an argument. Cops called. They were released. And what ended up happening was that Starbucks came up with a policy afterwards that allowed people to come and use the bathroom without buying stuff. It allowed, people to hang out without buying any things and kind of use that space. And so that was called for like, a really stupid choice by a lot of people. And that really stopped, a whole lot of people from Starbucks. And, funny enough, Starbucks used to be, now prior to that, okay, Starbucks used to be a place where you'd walk in, and after it became very mainstream, you did catch a lot of, say high school. I would, I guess it eventually got to high school, but a lot of it used to be a lot of, yeah, I guess high school, older high school kids, college kids, university kids, adults, people on dates, people in business meetings. I've had a business meeting, lots of business meeting at Starbucks, special, a lot of dates, Starbucks meetings, whatever, hung out with my wife, whatever. So, I mean, everybody's done that. I used to go there before work, go there after work, grab something while rollerblading or whatever, biking or whatever. So you get there. So, anyways, what ended up happening is that in a place like Starbucks, if you don't allow the riffraff to come in, meaning, I mean, realistically, if you have a $6 coffee and you have to buy a coffee to use the bathroom, and people know of this, they're not going to come in. So it was nice because you weren't having random homeless people and drug addicts coming in because they know they weren't going to be able to use the bathroom. It was locked. So they wouldn't spend the time to be escorted out the store, right? Very, very promptly. And I mean that, these guys aren't in there to buy a coffee. Nobody, no homeless guys walk into Starbucks to buy an overpriced coffee, right? Give me a break. So the problem started because a lot of people that would go in there, right? Not people just, waiting for business meetings, but you'd have, college kids or different, like, kids meeting up to do homework, girls meeting up to do homework and whatever with their friends. And then you have all these weird perverts coming in, waiting in restrooms and whatnot. I mean, personally, I went to Starbucks before and I've seen drug like needles and stuff uh, in the bathroom. Right, there was a time where it was kept to high standard, but in recent times, you'd go in there and there's somebody pissed all over the place and left drug needles. Right, so it happens, and they don't clean it up. So this created a whole bunch of problems because at that point, if you felt like you were not, it was something I wouldn't want my wife or my daughter to hang out in Starbucks. because I didn't think it was safe. I wouldn't hang out at Starbucks just because I don't like the hassle. And I think when it came to meeting people, if I was meeting for a meeting or, a signing or to do something, I wouldn't choose Starbucks anymore. I'd choose somewhere else. And a lot of people felt this. It was pretty crazy. And I mean, it is just recently, like if you've ever been to Starbucks recently, you walk in and it's crazy homeless people, crazy druggies, people, the washrooms, you can walk in and there's drugs and there's this and it was just crazy. It was a lot of stuff. Yeah. You know, um, Alcohol. I've been in one Starbucks and, somebody had a Mickey, you know, tossed out on the counter, empty Mickey. So yeah, a lot of craziness. Uh, right? You see people vaping, you smell vaping, you smell, especially the weed vapes, like people go in and weed vape in the bathroom and come out. I don't know, it's pretty crazy. And, while we don't want discrimination and people having a bad time and, not enjoying themselves, not being able to get coffee, not feeling confident. Like, I mean, it makes me, yeah, sometimes I need to go to the bathroom without, and I don't feel I want to buy $6 coffee, but I mean, I don't walk in and smear feces on a wall in a public bathroom at Starbucks, right? Like, so I think there's kind of a twofold problem. And part of it is that between the scumbags out there, I mean, if you have a whole bunch of people that are no good that are doing this type of stuff, I mean, that's kind of the problem in itself. If this was some other time, if this was the 1950s where you could do this, you could leave your bathroom open, people come in and pay for stuff and buy stuff and be polite. I mean, even in the 80s, it was like that. In the 90s, it was like that. So, I mean, society's gotten worse. So you can't do that. Right? It's sad. So, as of right now, we're so far in here. As of right now, as of today, right? You are not able to just hang out or use a bathroom, right? Starbucks reversed a policy on Monday. So it's a new code of conduct. Now it bans discrimination, harassment, consumption of outside alcohol, smoking, vaping, drug use, your marijuana vapes, and panhandling. Those guys going table to table, asking you for money and whatever. So all that stuff is going to change and it's going to be good for people that pay. And if you're going to violate this, you get asked to leave. And, let me tell you something. This is good. As much as I stop at places and I've had to use the bathroom and and it's, you get pissed because you want to go to Starbucks, not be forced to buy something, not be forced to wait in line, la, 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 la. But it's tough. You're in a tough situation. I fully understand. You know, I was at another restaurant and I popped in. What happened was I was waiting. I had taken my car into a shop. I ran next door to grab a coffee at a very well known coffee shop. And I'm in this coffee shop, and there's like a strung out lady on completely strung out on drugs with a whole bunch of personal belongings, having a crazy fit in the corner on one of the benches. There was another one standing up near the cash, harassing people, complaining because they lock the bathrooms. They lock the bathrooms so they don't do drugs in there. And so these two women are in the store creating a big, big, big controversy, yelling and screaming and passing out and all this craziness in the store. There's people, there's me, there's, some construction guys that walked in from doing construction up the road. There's people with their kids, people with their babies, old people, and these two ladies creating a storm. I look outside and there's another lady, and all these women are strung out on drugs. They're white women strung out on drugs at 10 o'clock in the morning. Crazy white women on drugs, 10 o'clock in the morning. This other lady's outside at the end of the drive-through, and she is stumbling in the traffic and just stumbling around. She's she's passing out while she's standing up. You see her dozing off, and then before she falls onto the ground, waking up, and then looking around, doing it again while trying to get smokes. Every time somebody steps outside, she's trying to get cigarettes. So if you took your family to a coffee shop or coffee and hot chocolate, or you took your wife or your girlfriend on a date and stopped in Starbucks for a coffee, or you're getting a coffee after dinner, or you just want some sweets or something else, right? You just want to spend some time at any point. You don't want this type of shit. There's no time where you want people on drugs, people that are smashed out on alcohol, carrying their piss smelling personal belongings through a coffee shop, yelling at people, begging for money, trying to get in the bathroom to do meth and whatever. Do you want that? Is that what we call freedom? Is that personal freedom? Like what is that? See, so the first time around, they go, "Well, this is going to be anti-harassment. It's going to be, you know, a way of letting these type of people, you know, not feel discriminated." We were actually at a time where we were canceling people. When we look back at these times, when we look back at the woke, I think we will call this the woke era. The woke era is probably going to be that like 2000. I don't know if it goes from 2015 or if it goes straight from like, I'm going to have to look this up. It looks like it's maybe a 2017, 2018, maybe it's 2018 to 2024. But I think the woke era officially ended with Trump becoming president again. And I'm sure the woke era probably started with him becoming president the first time. And then now it's ending because we saw what happened. People were so willing to go woke because of Trump derangement syndrome that now we have this. Can you believe that? That is so insane. So now, I mean, listen, Starbucks, they make sense. If I had a business and I wanted to get people in my business to spend money, I will not, I wouldn't open it up to druggies and homeless people and unsavory characters to come in and cause problems. Like, I mean, all these woke people, all these liberals, all these Democrats, all these people are you got to be fucked in the head, right? Because the dumbest fucking thing, right? Even if you don't like Starbucks, you got to think you can be real fucking retarded if you're going to let this type of stuff happen to your business, letting these people come in to destroy your business, to shit all over your walls. Or I meant, excuse my language, smear feces on your walls, do drugs, shoot up, leave needles, pass out in the bathroom, piss on the floor, vomit everywhere. I've been to some of these places. You walk in the bathroom and you wonder what the fuck happened. So, good on you, Starbucks, right? I don't know if you're complaining, then maybe you're part of the problem, but open your own, you could go out, open your own coffee shop and then fill it with drug users and, junkies and other people that don't want to pay, right? Rapists, whatever, pedophiles. So go, you let all these liberals come to your coffee shop and do their crap in it, and then you don't have to worry about it, right? I think that would work out very well. Until next time. Have a great one from Better Assholes.